The Russian armed forces and the head of Akhmat Special Force, Major General Apty Alaudinov, claimed that Russian forces have reclaimed 2 more settlements in the Kursk region. Russia also claims a massive strike on the critical facilities of Ukraine's energy infrastructure after attacking Ukraine with more than 200 missiles and drones on Monday. Now, according to Moscow, all designated targets were hit. To discuss things further on where things stand for Ukraine at this point and what Russia plans to do next, we're being joined by Dr. Anna Matveeva, who's a visiting senior research fellow, Russia Institute, King's College London, and Russian Affairs Analyst. Dr. Anna, thank you so much for making time for us and joining us on Game Plan. These Russian reports, they suggest that Ukraine is facing major losses on home turf while it loses grip in Kursk as well. What do you make of these reports? Does it come as a surprise?
I don't think that we should take all this information as face value because some of these things are confirmed, some of them are really the fog of war. What is confirmed that Russia has inflicted a massive attack against Ukrainian critical infrastructure. They managed to hit 9 major objects. The extent of damage is being confirmed. Russian side said it is really significant. Ukrainian side is downplaying the amount of damage, which is absolutely normal. But that was one of the really massive strikes. The question here is whether it's one-off affair or whether Russia would be able to sustain that level of strikes on a regular basis. If so, then it would be a critical issue for Ukraine. If it's one-off event, Ukrainian side would more likely be able to recover. What's happening on the front lines? The Russian command and the President Putin himself made a strategic decision not to change the tactics on the Ukrainian front. Ukrainian forces are now under quite heavy pressure in the theater of operation in Donetsk province. With the same targets which Russia had in sights 3 weeks ago, they remain, so that operational plan has not changed. What changed is the Ukrainian successful and very surprising attack on Kursk province of Russia. And that is something which is quite a significant factor now.
Dr. Matveeva, I want to share some more figures because they've been baffling and they are coming from the Russian side. I wanted to just get your quick opinion on that. These are figures which are being reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. Russia claims to have destroyed, these are overall figures since the war began, 640 Ukrainian warplanes, 283 Ukrainian helicopters, 30,500 UAVs, some 575 surface-to-air missile systems, 17,500 tanks, and all this has been destroyed till now since the invasion. In the past day itself, now these are the latest numbers which just came in from the Russian Defense Ministry, 90 casualties in the Sumy region, over 1,200 casualties in the Donetsk People's Republic, 480 casualties in the Luhansk People's Republic and Serebryanka Forestry, 70 casualties on enemy troops in Zaporizhia region. We're talking about a figure which is nearly 1,800 casualties in a single day. At this point, was there any larger objective behind Ukraine's Kursk invasion? And at the same time, what do you make of these figures that have just come in? Is it possible to have these kind of figures on a daily basis? These are the number of casualties they're reporting from inside Ukraine.
Yes, it is plausible because now this is a very intensive phase of the military operation across the whole theater. The overall numbers, certainly we cannot verify now. They do look plausible. Some of it, just let's remember, would be fairly old weaponry, obsolete weaponry, something which has been inherited from the Soviet times, and not all of it is like in real modern weaponry. But yes, figures appear plausible. Again, casualties on the enemy side, it's something which we cannot verify. That can be only verified by Ukrainian side, and they have been really never reporting on any casualties on their side. Russian side have been reporting on their own casualties. Ukraine doesn't. The Kursk attack certainly had an objective of having some kind of territory which can be bargained further when there kind of exchange. That's one objective. The other objective is a morale booster, both for Ukrainian own population, but also with the Western alliance, which started to become really pessimistic about the Ukrainian army's ability to fight. But it can also backfire very badly, because it has, I think, undermined any prospect of peace negotiations in the foreseeable future. If we had some kind of feelers from the Russian side that they would want to end the conflict through some kind of deal, that's not the mood now. They are really up in arms to push Ukraine out of Russia and be quite brutal about it.
If, again, for most of our broadcasts, we've taken up a lot of reports which have been published in the West. That's why on Game Plan, I wanted to bring out reports which Russia is coming out with and just get a perspective on that as well. So we have a balanced report from both sides. As of now, if you were to believe the reports that have come in from the Russian Defense Ministry and what they are reporting about the war and how Russia is progressing with it, it seems that Ukraine is losing men on home turf, and they're losing whatever territory that they had invaded into inside Russia as well. It seems like a loss on both ends. What do you make of the entire reports at this point? Because on the basis of that, I just want to understand from you, what's next for Kiev? On home turf and on Russian turf, they seem to be losing on both ends.
We cannot verify that there is massive loss on Ukraine's side. Yet we have reports when there are a lot of settlements, small villages, change hands. What we can say for sure that Ukrainian forces have been stopped. So they are not really advancing further from what they have managed to grab in the first days of this surprise attack. But equally, the Russian forces have not really taken control of any major settlements, and on the city of Sucha, also the Gazprom pumping station, that's quite significant strategic object. So it is now really a bit of a stalemate, I would say. Both sides are battling very hard, but we cannot say that Ukrainian side has suffered major losses. That's something which might happen. In my view, that it is something likely to happen. But because Russia has mobilized forces from everywhere, even the Pacific Fleet, so reinforcements are coming from everywhere, but the battlefield is very intense, and neither side has managed to claim a decisive loss or decisive victory at that point.
All right, Dr. Anna Matveeva, thank you so much for sharing all your insights, because you have expressed that for all our viewers and anyone who's reading reports from either side, they have to be looked at and read with caution. Nothing can be taken at complete face value, yet there are certain possibilities that of losses on both sides, as none of the sides are clearly winning at this point. If a win is being considered as a taking over of territory, Ukraine is not advancing any further, is what you're suggesting, inside Russia. Russia seems to have arrested that further movement beyond Kursk. And as far as within Ukraine is concerned, Russia is making slight advances. They're inching further. Of course, Pokrovsk is one region which Russia has had its eye towards since a long time. We are going to be tracking that closely right here on Game Plan. That was Dr. Anna Matveeva joining us, visiting Senior Research Fellow, Russia Institute, King's College London, and Russia Affairs Analyst. Thank you so much, Dr. Matveeva.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.